On March 11th, 2008, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released a survey which should have sent shockwaves across the nation, but it was obliterated by all kinds of political scandals, sex scandals, and those kind of things. What this survey showed that is 1/4 of teenage girls in this country have sexually transmitted diseases. About 50% of African American girls have sexually transmitted diseases. You're talking about gonorrhea, even cases of syphilis are popping up in teenage girls. Groups like Planned Parenthood immediately come out and they start talking about what can we do, and of course it seems the solution is we need more information about sex given to kids. We need more sexual training and all those kind of things, which of course we've been doing for years. I would say just the opposite. No, we don't need to give kids more sex images, more sexual information. They have too much. When kids today and I'm talking about teenage girls, I'm talking about kids that are 8 or 9 years old, are bombarded with sex images in commercials. When you go to the mall, you can't escape the huge billboards of guys running naked, boys with their hands down their pants, women scantily dressed in sexually provocative outfits and bras and practically nothing on. So kids are bombarded daily. So they're getting a lot of the information. They're getting, like I say, they're getting too much. If you go to the Disney Channel, you have kids, the Hannah Montana program where kids are dressed sexually, and they're proposing the idea that sex is glamorous, but with no talk about the consequences. So you teach that sex is something everybody should go out and do, that it's just a biological act. What did they expect? What does our leaders in this country, what do people expect was going to happen? Kids are going to go out and have sex and they're going to get disease. It's multiple partners leads to sexual disease. But the question is, why are we seeing this besides what we're seeing pumped at us through commercials and movies and television and the internet? One is the American family is in a horrible mess. In some areas of the country, the divorce rate's 50%. Even in the Bible Belt, it's one of the southeastern and southern part of the United States, it's one of the highest rates of divorce. Our communities have fallen apart. When I was growing up as a kid, I didn't grow up in a religious home, but I was taught moral limits. I was taught there are certain things you don't do. The schools reinforced it. The synagogues reinforced it. The movies reinforced it. Television reinforced it. All this stuff wasn't being pumped in my head. So I grew up at a time when, essentially, until I became older in the 1960s when things really broke loose, I was told there are limits. And today kids don't get any more moral limits. They receive no moral limits. And until we decide as a country, in our communities, in our churches, and our churches are doing a terrible job. There's a church on virtually every corner in this nation. And the moral decline in this country is rapid. The church is caught up in politics and glamorous TV programs and all kinds of scandals themselves. So we've let our children down. As I say, kids don't have a chance today. The problem is we need to look in the mirror. The problem is us. Until we get our families back together, our communities, our religious organizations, and they all work together to help our children, things are only going to get worse.